Here in Kenya, and we take you to the probe on the controversy surrounding Team Kenya, the mismanagement of Team Kenya during the just concluded 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, Brazil. And the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, is currently appearing before the Labour Committee of the National Assembly. As we speak, the Labour Committee of the National Assembly is grilling the National Olympic Committee of Kenya Chairman Kipchoge Keino. Let's cross live to Parliament buildings.
Them to some more. They come home with 7 medals, and there were 8 competitors. And no appreciation, nobody say thank you. The ministry even didn't want to know what happened. But the youth of this country is needed for development. Those youths who went to Samoa, they are going to be members of the Olympic next, or the Commonwealth Games. So, Mr. President, Chair, we in National Olympic Committee, we have a lot to do to look for finance, to be able to give to federation, to prepare their team before any major event, like the Olympic, the Commonwealth Games, the Youth Olympic, the Youth Commonwealth. We also, in National Olympic Committee, discuss with the other international and send our coaches for training in those countries. We also send our athletes on scholarship, assisted by International Olympic Committee and the Commonwealth Games Federation. That's why we need coaches to be able to take care of a Kenyan team. The international body are willing to come and share with us why Kenya is performing. What is the reason? But I appreciate with what other federations of this country are working together to be able to improve the standard of sport in this country, especially on the youth program. The chairman, if we don't go back to grassroots and develop the youths, we will not be able to have stars in any sports. And this is what we need. We need to have budget with the ministry. We need to sit down with the ministry and plan how much money are we going to spend every year for development of youth, the program of our major event, so that we can be able to perform well for this country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now I've given you that leeway to speak generally. What I had wanted from the members, because basically what we are looking at is the Olympic Games in Rio. And I wanted us to narrow ourselves to Rio 2016. But being the president of NOC, I've given you leeway to tell us more. So if there is any other member who wants to comment on Rio 2016, that is actually where our interest is, Rio 2016. If there is, please, you are free to say in 2 minutes, and then I'll allow the members to ask questions. Anything in addition to what the chef de mission has told us. Okay? Both what was presented yesterday and what the additional information that he has given today.
Yes. Thank you, Chair, and honorable members and my colleagues. I believe as a committee in charge of sports in this country, we have a role and responsibility. To begin with, these games were overseen by the CS, who was the head of the steering committee. It was unfortunate that the steering committee did not meet as regularly as it should have, because some of the things that may have gone wrong was the absence of the authority itself to make certain decisions. So if there is any apportioning of blame, All of us must be taken to task from the top. It is not an issue of NOC, it is mainly an issue of the steering committee. Some of the decisions that were made.
What I wanted to alert you, so far, from our side, we've not apportioned any blame, so I thought maybe you should just confine yourself to information as relates to NOC, because that one now will be left to us after we've heard from you conclusively, heard from the CS and his team. Then as we sit down, we'll now start understanding exactly whom to blame. But for now, no one is blaming anybody. We want to get full information from us to make that decision.
Yes, Chair, I fully understand, and I actually didn't mean that we are blaming anyone. We are just saying things the way they were. In the absence of the steering committee meeting regularly, some decisions may have been made and force the CDM to actually meet with the PS to make certain decisions. Secondly, for example, the NOC board was not privy, was not privy to some of the decisions. For one, as an example, the list of the entire contingent was not availed to the board at all. In fact, we saw that list 2 days before the CDM left, because we had to make some arrangements, but it was approved by the PS. So again, as a board, we did not know about the entire contingent. Thirdly, and this is something we all need to take note of. When the CDM gave his explanations yesterday, more so regarding the accommodation of ministry, senior ministry officials, and of course some of the honorable members who are traveling, he should have disclosed the fact that the ministry, through Sports Kenya, forced a transfer of about 29 million shillings to the NOC account. Our treasurer was not in agreement with that transfer. And this money, 4.1, was to be used to buy medicines, and about 25 million for accommodation. So you can see the process was not right, because the PS could have drawn the money from their ministry account directly without bringing it to NOC, because now we'll have audit queries and we have to explain. Then our CDM carried 25 million in cash so that he can settle some hotel bills. The next question is, the 25 million was in dollars. So the question is, why wouldn't the PS give this money to the finance officer who was part of the steering committee and also in charge of payments? So we probably want to say fully that some decisions made were not made by the board. We want to be clear about this. I want to thank you very much for giving me the time to speak on this. Thank you.
Chair, I would like to mention one thing. The money we collect is audited. The money is sent by International Olympic Committee. They come up and do the audit with KPMG. And every year, whatever money comes from overseas, KPMG comes to a National Olympic Committee with their own people and sit with our own financial committee and audit all the money coming from
prior to Rio or in Rio, which will help this committee come to a conclusion on what happened there. Ndereba?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I would love to echo on what everybody else in the National Olympic Committee is saying, that yes, well, we had an outstanding performance, but on the side of accommodation and travel, I have some cries because myself, as being appointed as a chaperone of the team, I had my dates of travel kept on being moved now and then. Originally, I was to travel on 31st, and I said I don't need to travel then because I had the marathon team that was traveling on 7th, and I didn't see a point of traveling without the marathoners. Myself being a retired athlete and a marathoner. So I requested that I travel on 7th with the team, and that was agreed. Then later, I came to realize on 5th of August that I'm no longer traveling on 7th, but my date has been moved on to 14th. So when I was called to the NOC office, I was given 2 tickets. One ticket was leading on 7th, and the other ticket was leading on 14th. And when I raised my question, I was told that yes, my date got changed to travel on 14th. And I asked this question, as we have a WhatsApp account, I just raised my complaint and I said, members, I don't think this is right. Having my dates kept on changing now and then, I don't know what is happening. And I was told that's what was agreed because even if my ticket gets changed, my accreditation is not activated. So later in the day, on 6th, I got a call at some minute they are going to suffer the consequences. Little did I know that I was the person to suffer the consequences. And when I traveled to Rio, when I got to Rio, I could not access the village, and I had to go to spend the night in another apartment, not all by myself, but I had the other coaches, Mosonik, who is the coach of Diego, and Balaton, and there was another guy by name Nahashon. So we spent the night there without dinner, and the following day we didn't have anything in that house, so we didn't have breakfast. So not until later in the day when Mr. Soy came up and he had to give me 500 lil that I had to return to him. It was, returnable. I had to give it back. So, and he had me to sign somewhere that I'll have to refund the money. So when I tried to talk to him before he took us to the apartment, we kind of exchanged words. And I told him, Mr. Soy, why did I have to suffer this? And he said, you just pushed yourself to come and you were not supposed to come. And I argued my case that, yes, I didn't want to travel just for the matter of traveling. I really wanted to be there for my fellow marathoners, athletes, so that I can at least, even if I don't have much knowledge, I just told him because I felt so bad. I felt so frustrated. I told him I feel at this point, I feel there are some people who are considered much more important than others because if myself I could not access the village, I don't know who else could access the village. And let me tell you, members, that most of the learners, if they could open up their hearts, they really got psychological disturbance. Because when they noticed that I'm not with them, they just left me at the, receiving tent. And the following day and a day after, they could not find me in the village. They started getting disturbed. One of them was a marathoner. She kept on WhatsApping me and asking me, Madam.
No, just a minute. The one who is standing did not introduce herself, so. Are you a member of NOC?